And I think Richard Rohr sets the table for us beautifully when he said, "To love someone in God is to love them for their own sake and not for what they do for us." That's personal, isn't it? Only a transformed consciousness sees another person as another self, as one who is also loved by Christ, and not as an object separate from ourselves and which we generously bestow favors. The oneness of God in each of us that needs to be unlocked. So seeing everyone as part of God's creation is really the essence of this. Each one of us in this planet, each one of us is needed to fulfill God's plan. And I know Sloan Wilson discovered this. Sloan was an author many years ago and struggled in the early days they worked in a business where they had to put out articles continuously, and the boss of Sloan was particularly demeaning and difficult to work with. But Sloan found himself coming home to his wife and saying, "I really hate my boss." He wasn't saying, "Boy, I'm finding this difficult challenge." He said, "I hate my boss." Now think of that as the antithesis of love. What drives each of us to that hate? And he was under assignment, and he was looking up Booker T. Washington, and he found a quote, and this is the interesting how Christ works through, I believe, another initiate, one that was serving a higher plan, just for something on earth to reach this soul, Sloan, to awaken him. He read this quote that is little known from Booker T. Washington, when he said, "I shall allow no man to belittle my soul by making me hate him." And that changed his whole perspective. If I hate someone, that comes from me. I can't put that out into the world. And I think that's what it just kind of unlocked for him in that moment. Now, the greatest love he could do for his boss was not have him over for dinner, necessarily, but it was to be indifferent, to be detached, to be non-reactive emotionally. That's where we get in trouble. We attach love with our emotions, and then we feel like everything's personal. They're personally, no, rise, separate ourselves from this. And I think in that was the greatest love that Sloan could offer the boss at that time. But he entered into this understanding that we're all on this pilgrimage back to God. And that while from probably Sloan's perspective, Christ had yet a lot to unlock in his boss, it was that understanding that it too will unlock and be unleashed.